So word on the street is that the Orlando Magic made a trade yesterday. It's got a lot of people talking about it. 4 unprotected first-round picks, 1 pick swap, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Cole Anthony for Desmond Bane of the Memphis Grizzlies. He's obviously on a bigger contract. We've got a big 4 from the comment section. In my last video, we're talking about Jalen Suggs, Bane, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner. This team is approaching second apron. And as I mentioned earlier, everybody in the NBA has got an opinion, got a hot take about this trade. So we're going to get into exactly what people are saying, what Jeff Weltman said today whenever he met with the media, and maybe a little bit of a deeper dive into exactly what ended up happening with the biggest trade, I'd say, so far in the 2025 NBA offseason. So first of all, we're going to skip the sub thing. We're going to go straight to Jeff Weltman and his quote. Look, I don't know that you can design a better player for our team than Desmond Bane. Obviously, when you make a move like this, we talked a little bit about this yesterday, about some of the situation and what was surrounding the reasoning for giving up so many picks and making this move. We obviously know that they were trying to offload KCP and Cole Anthony in addition to getting Desmond Bane. But you don't make a move like this and you pay this much for a player that you don't think is an absolutely perfect fit. And Desmond Bane definitely was that. We obviously took a look at a lot of his stats from last year. Wasn't as consistent as we mentioned, but still just such a talented shooter and some player that this Orlando Magic team will definitely be able to utilize. They'll be able to bail out Paolo Banchero, bail out Franz Wagner on those nights where they really need another scorer. Jalen Suggs, also in the backcourt, gets an extra boost in the scoring. And it wasn't something that we had seen from KCP and Cole Anthony. So I definitely think that is really, really important. Now, what else have people been saying? Well, Bill Simmons, if you do perchance like to listen to his podcast, really loved the move, really sees the ceiling for this team, for this Orlando Magic team, as being a lot higher than maybe in previous years. He says that this is a team that can compete with some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. He really liked the move. Now, in a lot of the different situations and scenarios I threw out to you guys, we were talking about how good this makes the Magic. Does it allow them to compete against those teams? I think that is still something where we're going to have to see it. We're going to have to see how this team ends up gelling and some of the extra moves that they end up making in the summer. But Bill Simmons liked it, and I definitely think that was something that was really interesting because I feel like he's got a lot of perspective. And I personally do respect his opinion about some of the different teams or some of the different moves that these teams make, especially since when he's not talking about the Boston Celtics. But Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated, that is an astonishing haul for Desmond Bane, is how he described it. Absolutely true. I'm going to get into some of your guys' comments in a minute, but we got Eddie Gonzalez as well. The Grizzlies got like 10 times more than Bane than the Kings did for Fox. I really like Desmond Bane. This comes from Chris Walder of Walder Sports on X. But 2 rotation players, 4 unprotected first-round picks, and a first-round pick swap is absolutely ridiculous. The market is flawed, but if you're the Grizzlies, you make that trade 1,000% of the time. From the Grizzlies' perspective, it certainly makes sense. And while I think everybody agrees this is an overpay, even with the context of trying to give up KCP and offload those contracts of him and Cole Anthony, this is just a lot, even if it makes your team better. So I think that that's something to really, really keep an eye on. Okay, let's get into exactly what you guys ended up saying in the comment section down below after everybody's been talking about this deal and whether or not it makes the Orlando Magic better. I'm going to start with maybe some of the negative ones first. Obviously, we're talking about this package could have gotten somebody a lot better. I think that's a really interesting perspective because could it? Are there teams, in a sense, that are going to take on Cole Anthony and KCP in that matter? I definitely think giving up those picks, the Phoenix pick, what have you, maybe could have reined in a better player than Desmond Bane, but he's really talented, and he's a player that I definitely think could be the 4th best on a championship team or 4th/3rd. So I definitely think it puts us in a good spot, but obviously, you're looking at the picks. Maybe you potentially could have got something, or maybe you wouldn't have had to give up so many picks to go get a player like that. Both ways of looking at it, I think, are extremely valid in a sense. Okay, let's take another look at this. The Phoenix pick makes me mad. That's going to be a top 10 pick. What if Phoenix truly gets tanked and has a top 3 pick? This was a nonsensical piece of the trade. And then there's obviously a really, really good response to this. So I do also want to mention the way that he ends up talking. We couldn't afford a long-term pick that high up. Player drafted in the lottery has a much higher salary, and the rookie extension is also substantially higher. Unless you didn't want the Magic to make any move this year and instead hope to get a great pick next year, there was no way we could afford to pay a lottery rookie the rookie extension and keep our roster. That's looking further, beyond. And if you get a guy like that, you're just hoping that he can be, just as good as Paolo or Franz, because that's an extremely high pick. And I think a lot of teams would roll the dice in that matter. But I think it just shows the way that this team is looking long term was not through the draft, no matter what those picks ended up being. But yes, the Phoenix pick definitely is a tough pill to swallow, because that could be an amazing pick, especially with KD. Now he's down to 2 teams now. They're going to end up trading him. Bradley Beal sucks, so they got 2 guys on that team, or essentially 1.5 kind of stars on that squad, and including Devin Booker. So they're not going to be very good whatsoever. But the Magic front office is buying into the rookies they already drafted, not into future potential rookies. Hope that makes sense. Edit: I don't think a top 5 rookie is as good as a proven 20-point per game scorer in Desmond Bane. Perhaps in the future they may be, but we can't afford to have them for that future. That's my take. I think that's completely valid, because I'm about to go get into the salary cap too. But as I mentioned, we started with the negative ones first. 4 unprotected picks. Definitely is gonna be part of this that a lot of people are gonna hate. This will be a very expensive team in 2 years. It is going to be interesting. It's a very expensive team right now, so I think this team just realized they were going to head that way anyway, or regardless. They wanted to clean up some of that, and I think they did it partially. Picks aren't, now we're going to get into some of the positives. Picks aren't worth much above the lottery unless Paolo retires this offseason. They are a non-factor. Absolutely. I mean, some of those picks that we ended up giving up, you count 4 unprotected. I think it just comes down to the Phoenix pick. The rest of them, could do without them. They with the way that this Magic team is drafted, honestly, as of the last handful of years, we weren't going to do anything with them anyway. So, but shout out, Desmond Bane was at the very end of the first round. So, you still can. There's still players there. Solid move. Great move. Picks aren't available to a playoff team, or aren't valuable, excuse me. We got 4 studs locked up for the next half decade. That is very true. This core is solidified. That is a very, very huge thing. Get Walter Clayton Jr. with the 25, and this is a success. I agree. I like it. 4 firsts is a lot, but we're just not getting. But we're getting Bane. We're not just getting Bane. Excuse me. We're unloading a bad contract in KCP. I think that's a huge and a very important way to look at this. Cannot stress that enough. That is the big portion of this deal. Moving into the salary cap, what I have been able to do as of research and want to kind of convey is that this team is headed to potentially second apron. They need to make some moves to get under that apron. I think that's definitely what they want to do this upcoming year. Free agents, they have team options on Gary Harris, Caleb Houston, Corey Joseph, and Mo Wagner. I definitely expect Mo Wagner to be back. I think that this depth chart is very good, and I think it's going to offer this team a fair amount of flexibility. But here's how I kind of look at it, maybe projecting out. You got Jalen Suggs, Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, Jonathan Isaac, Wendell Carter Jr., Goga Bitadze, Mo Wagner, and then maybe you mismatch in some sort of way Caleb Houston, Jett Howard, Gary Harris, Corey Joseph, and you try to figure it out. But that's where it's projected at right now. Maybe they don't want to bring back those guys. Maybe they do. Right now, I believe they're projected at $205.5 million in projected salary. The second apron's at $207.8 million. First apron's $195.9, and that includes both of those first. So they did just give one up, I believe. So they're gonna have to end up moving some of those pieces and end up figuring out the cap situation. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.